We're moving into a unit on systems of equations. Now, systems of equations are going to be two or more equations at the same time. The very first thing we need to be able to do with these systems is to write these systems of equations. So we're going to be dealing with word problems today. Never fear, we'll help you digest them. The first thing you want to do when you're writing a systems of equation is understand or label what your variables are representing. So we're going to label what x and y represent in real life so that we know how to then organize our information into mathematical equations. Okay, we're going to label our variables and then organize the information into equations. One of the first types of equations you might write is a standard form equation. Do you see how this is in alphabetical order? We have our A's, B's, and C's, which you're going to replace with numbers, but your X's and Y's are in alphabetical order. Now this one is honestly pretty much the easiest one to write because we're going to be looking for in the word problem things like what the variables represent, X and Y, and whatever total amount of those X and Y items we have in the scenario. We might also have some sort of dollar amount for an X value. We might have a dollar amount for a Y variable, which means we're going to have a total dollar amount. Those numbers that have dollar signs next to them probably belong in the same equation together. And last but not least, you have your other items. So let's say we're talking about points on a test or the number of wheels something has. Those are items. So if you have a label for your variables that have points or wheels, then eventually you're going to find a total number of points or wheels. Now you might be like, Ms. Quigley, why are you saying points or wheels? We may see some examples later that talk about coordinate points or points on a test or how many wheels are on certain things, and those numbers go together. The second type of equation you might write here is a y equals mx plus b equation. This is called slope-intercept form. We're really comfortable with slope-intercept form because we know that the m is the slope, which means we're looking for words like per or each or every to let us know that that number is the slope for this scenario. We're also looking for words that indicate that this is our initial value for b. You may not see actually the word initial value, but initial means start. So if you have any words that say it started out like this, there's a setup fee at the beginning, or that there's a flat fee or flat rate, okay, flat fee or starting value, that's going to be your initial value or your B. The last type of equation we might write are what I consider other equations. It's when we're going to have to actually rebalance some equations. So you know that an equal sign means that they are the same. So what we're going to probably have to do is make some adjustments to this balancing scale so that we can rebalance the equation. Let's say the question says something like, x has 30 less than y. Okay, if I say x has 30 less, you would know already that x is less. So to balance this back out, you'd have to balance it out by putting a minus 30 on the y, so that the x, which was already less, is now balanced or equal to the y if we take away 30. We'll go through examples of each of the three types of equations that you might write from these word problems slowly throughout the day. Let's jump right in. We're going to write but not solve a system of equations for the various real-world scenarios, okay? What we're going to do while we read these is we're going to highlight what we think the variables are so that it helps us label them. Number one says, Skeeter Theater, wow, I just stuttered over that. Skeeter Theater sold adult tickets for the school musical for $6.50 and student tickets for $2.50. Well, I can tell already that my two items or my two variables are going to be the amount of adult tickets that I sell and the amount of student tickets that I sell. That's what we're labeling our variables. Then we know that on opening night, 323 tickets were sold for a grand total of $1,495.50. All right, so we're going to let X represent our adult tickets. However many tickets we sold that were adult tickets. We're going to let Y represent the student tickets. Okay, Now let's organize our information. The other numbers I see in this problem, you have a $sign amount, a $sign amount, and a $sign amount. Those might go together. The other thing we have is a total number of tickets. Now remember, we are talking about tickets for X and Y. So if I total or add up my tickets, it should be 323. I've just organized this information based on their labels of tickets into an equation that says if I total the tickets, I'm going to have 323. If I take all the dollar signs amount, knowing that the $6.50 belongs to the adult tickets and the $2.50 belongs to the student tickets, remember, adult, student, when I total all of those up, my total money number, my total dollar amount is $1,495.50. I have organized that information into an equation. These are standard form. We're just organizing the information together. It's now your turn. Number 2 says your algebra teacher decides to give a test worth 100 points and it contains 25 questions. Multiple choice questions are worth 3 points and word problems are worth 4 points. If multiple choice questions are your X and word problems are your Y, please give it a shot. Write down the equations that organize this information. Hopefully you noticed that since we said that this test is going to have 25 questions and that X and Y are representing different types of questions, then we can total these up and say X plus Y equal to 25, putting all of the question labels together. Additionally, did you notice that we have a total number of points and then a value of points for each type of variable? We know that multiple choice, or X, is 3 points, and word problems, or Y, are 4 points, for a grand total of 100 points. We've now represented this test that your algebra teacher is trying to give you into two equations or a system of equations. Now, if we look at number 3 and 4, these are not going to be written in standard form. There's going to be some big indicators that let us know we're talking about slope-intercept form equations. Number 3 says a recording studio charges musicians an initial fee of $50 to record an album and $75 per hour for the space. Did y'all see that per hour? That's a huge indicator from the word per that we're going to write y equals mx plus b equations. They also charge $3 again per hour to park in the parking lot with a $1.50 surcharge for entry. Okay, well we know that X is going to represent the number of hours. Y is not labeled on here, but we can tell just by this scenario that Y is the total amount of money that a recording studio is going to charge their musician. Okay, so if we organize this information, we can say, all right, we have an equation that has a per word of $75 per hour, and that $50 initial fee to record something. Initial fee is a starting value or an initial value. Additionally, we see that we have $3 per hour slope to park in the parking lot with a $1.50 surcharge for entry. It's meaning you have to pay like the $1.50 to get in and then it's $3 after that. That means $1.50 is my initial value. And voila. I have written two slope-intercept form equations that represent the scenario. I now have a system of equations. Your turn again. You've got number 4. It says Morningstar Electric Power Company charges $22.80 for every hour of electricity, as well as a $105 startup fee. Mountaintop Power charges $24.50 for each hour of electricity and $70 initial setup fee. Let's write the equations that represent these two power companies with this hint right here for your values. When you organized your information together, hopefully you took all of these slopes, which the words that for every or each or per are next to, and included that as your M. Both of them also had a value for their startup fee or their initial fee. meaning that those are my y-intercept. And now we have a system that represents this scenario. We have two equations that represent this scenario. Now these next couple are kind of cool. We're going to talk about Sydney and Ralph here. Number 5 says Sydney has a collection of nickels and quarters which have a total value of $4.90. She has 42 coins total. Okay, so I know that we're talking about nickels and we're talking about quarters. Those are going to be my two variables. Great. Nickels, I'm labeling my variable, and quarters. These are both types of coins. And if we were to look at the equation and kind of do what we were doing all day, we'd say, wait a minute, there's only straight up two numbers, and 42 is a total number of coins, so we can add up the coins, x plus y, we should have 42 total, but I don't see another number with dollar signs to go with the 490. Well, here we're relying on your prior knowledge about nickels and quarters. How much is a nickel worth? Hopefully you said 5 cents. Remember, 5 cents written with a dollar sign in front of it is 0.05. And a quarter written with a dollar sign in front of it is 0.25, which is 25 cents, but we've got to write them with dollar signs in front of it. So now we know, because of our prior knowledge, that if we put 0.05x plus 0.25y, we would have a grand total of $4.90. Ralph's question is going to be very similar. Let's see if you can write an equation for Ralph, a system of equations for Ralph. Check it out. How'd you do? We should have labeled nickels and dimes as my x and y respectively, and then looked to organize our information. We got to look for dollar sign amounts to go with a total value, but we had to remember what nickels and dimes were worth, so that they had a value to them. Then we also had a total number of coins in all, so if we add up the nickels and dimes, we should have 25 individual coins. Awesome. Now let's check out this last two questions. Number 7 says, Paul is cooking dinner for his sisters. The recipe is written weirdly and calls for 5 fewer tablespoons of garlic powder than the olive oil. It also calls for a total of 11 tablespoons of these ingredients. All right, here's what I know we're talking about. I know we're talking about tablespoons of garlic powder and tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, I know that's what my variables are going to represent. So tablespoons of garlic powder and tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, let's organize our information. I know for sure that we're going to have a total of 11 tablespoons, and that's what my variables are representing. So let's first just total them up. X plus y equals 11. But then do you notice that we have a weird sentence here that says I need to have 5 fewer tablespoons of garlic powder than olive oil, which means we're going to have to play a balancing act. If this is my equation and I want it to be balanced, because that's what an equal sign means, it means that they're the same or equal. It says that we have 5 fewer tablespoons of the garlic powder. So this already has 5 less. So which side am I actually going to have to subtract from to get them to balance back out? If this garlic powder side is already less, I'm going to have to subtract from the olive oil side. X equal to y minus 5 is the second equation in this system. Now I know those are wild to do. The balancing equations ones are kind of crazy. But what's cool is that a lot of times you'll be given answer choices like number 8, where we're going to be able to make some really smart decisions when we get these harder questions. Number 8 says a new spiral notebook contains 30 more sheets of paper than a new memo book. The total number of sheets of paper in 3 new spiral notebooks and 5 new memo books is 810. Which system of equations can be used to find S, the number of sheets of paper in 1 new spiral notebook, and M, the number of sheets of paper in 1 new memo book? Okay, here's some things I know. I know that they've already labeled my values for me. This time we're using S for the new spiral notebooks and M for the new memo books. It's labeled. I know also that it says the total number of sheets of paper in 3 spiral notebooks and 5 memo books is 810. So if I do 3 spiral notebooks and 5 memo books, I should have 810 pieces of paper. Once we have answer choices though, do half the work and stop. Do you notice that there are 2 answer choices that are for sure not right? Which ones can we eliminate? Yeah, hopefully you notice that on H and on J, both of those literally just put the wrong kind of variable with the letter. So instead of saying 3S and 5M, they said it backwards. That means for sure we're not even going to pay attention to those anymore. At this point, we have a 50-50 shot of getting this question right. So let's do a little bit more math and reason our way here. It says a new spiral notebook contains 30 more sheets of paper than a new memo book. So if I was trying to balance these things out, which one is already having more? It says the spiral notebook has 30 more already. So which side I'm going to have to add 30 to get this to actually be equal? If this side is already more, I'm going to add the other 30 to the M. Now if you look at our answer choices, there's not a single answer choice left that says S equal to M plus 30. What do you notice about both of these answer choices? Hopefully you see that both the S and the M are on the same side of the equal sign. So if we go ahead and do that, let's take this M and bloop, drop it over there. What happens when I cross this center line? We have to change the sign. So my equation should now say S and a negative M equal to 30. So we would know that answer choice F is correct. If today you feel really confident getting about halfway, so what I've done in purple on this question, I'm actually really happy. We're going to be spending time in class writing different kinds of systems of equations in preparation to learn how to solve them. So we are dealing with lots of words and word problems, but if you have a highlighter or you have multicolored pencils, this would be a great day to use all of the coloring that I do on my notes for yours as well. See you in class.